we saw shades of the old confident AJ. I'd say AJ's on his way back, and it's looking good. That was a great performance. I'm not gonna rain on the parade at all, but I just thought Wallin was awful.
It's what you've always wanted to sort of see from a dude like Joshua.
I just think Deontay Wilder was terrible, and I'll be surprised if we see him again at top level.
He didn't even look scary last night, so there was no real excitement for me. It was just like, oh, this is a real banana skin for the bigger picture.
If AJ did fight Wilder, you've got to say that AJ beats Wilder because Wilder's finished. Hello and welcome to The Verdict with me, Carl Froch, and my old mate George Groves. How you doing, mate? All right?
I am good, Carl. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, you know. Keeping myself fit and well and as healthy as possible. 3 kids running me ragged. But anyway, last night's big fight card in Saudi. There's lots to get stuck into, but let's start with Anthony Joshua's win. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, Joshua, who closed the show, and he closed the show well. I thought he boxed really well. It's what you've always wanted to sort of see from a dude like Joshua, that size, that physique, you know, being able to just put a bit of spite and venom on his punches and push the guy back in front of him. You know, simple as taking the centre of the ring and stamping some authority within the bout. I think he did that, and I think he did that well. And maybe he's got to this point in his career where he's realised that's the best way for him to fight. So, yeah, it's so hard, Carl, really, with heavyweights. You're wondering, you know, you're under pressure to make a prediction, but, you know, they just chop and change so much. But if Joshua fights the way he fought last night, I think, you know, he's back in the picture, back in the running. It's night and day from his previous 2 outings this year. Also, well, in Southpaw, there was question marks, why has he gone Southpaw? But it didn't matter. I thought he boxed really well, Carl. What do you think?
I thought he did well, yeah. I was impressed because he was confident, he was quite dominant behind the jab, and he was pushing forward and letting his shots go, and he didn't seem too concerned. But would that have been largely due to the fact that Otto Wallin really didn't come with much, did he? I mean, he wasn't throwing many punches, he didn't look confident himself, he was on his back foot from the outset, and it's hard to say now. I mean, I'd say AJ's on his way back, and it's looking good. That was a great performance. I'm not gonna rain on the parade at all. But I just thought Wallin was awful. What did he do? What was his game plan? What did he come and try and do? Did he just get nullified? Was AJ just too good for him, too strong? Was Otto Wallin scared? I don't know. He just looked undermotivated. He didn't really come with a game plan. He didn't get anything going. So I suppose we just have to credit that to Anthony Joshua's performance and just attribute the fact that he turned up and put his shots together and looked like he was believing in himself. And I've got Ben Davison in his corner now, so had a bit of a change with his training camp, a bit of a setup change. So maybe that sparked a bit of the old flame. But yeah, all you can draw from that performance is AJ put on a great performance and did what he had to do. I mean, Wallin pulled out, didn't he? Was it round 5 he pulled out? So he quit. He had a little cut on his nose. He'd not really been hit with any mega shots. He'd not been over. Come on. I just expect better. I expect if you're going to come and try and get yourself in the mix in the heavyweight division, come and have a go. Come and throw some punches, leave it all in the ring. And get flattened maybe trying to do something. I just thought Otto Wallin was dreadful. I mean, we'll move over to Deontay Wilder in a minute, and it's the same for him. Maybe he's got old overnight, but AJ did really well. AJ's performance was spot on. It's what we needed to see, a confident, solid performance from AJ. So give him his props and give him his credit.
So, you mentioned their trainer, Ben Davison. How much credit do you think Ben Davison should get for this? Because obviously he's moved about Joshua, hasn't he? And he spent some time in the States. And you see fighters, British fighters in particular, who go, right, I've got to go to the States because that's where the best trainers are. But actually, there's a whole host of good trainers here in the UK. And it seems like on the outset that Ben Davison has reignited him and got what you want to see from Joshua out of him. I mean, as you say, Wallin, sometimes you do watch a fight and you think, yeah, he done well, but I'm more disappointed in the opponent. Whereas I just think Wallin found his level, and it's not at that top end when the big guys and the best guys are actually on form, which I thought Joshua was last night.
Yeah, yeah, and there is always that. I mean, and you could only beat who's in front of you as well. So the division's not exactly. It's not mega, is it? The division. You've got Fury at the end, coming towards the end of his career. Obviously, Usyk's dominating. See what he did to AJ twice, but even he's getting old. And then you've got a few people coming through. I'm quite excited about Daniel Dubois, that performance from him, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, I think end the AJ Wallin thing on. Wallin was quite limited, which I think he is anyway. But AJ got in there, did what he had to do, and put on a really, really good performance. To answer your question about Ben Davison, I'm not sure what Ben Davison's role is in camp because AJ's changed his trainer a few times. And I don't know if he's just helping out on the pads, if he's helping out, giving him a bit of advice in his ear, or if he's actually main trainer during the camp. He's only worked with him for 5 or 6 weeks on the build to this one. So, yeah, give Ben Davison his credit. But AJ got in there. He showed confidence. He showed that he was there to win. He meant business. And he put his shots together behind a solid jab. And he was going for it, wasn't he, from round 2 and 3, started to press forward and started to let the shots. So we saw shades of the old, confident AJ.
Carl, let's talk about Wilder. Joshua goes out, wins well, but in the change room, he watches the Wilder performance. Did you see that coming?
Absolutely not, no. But he's quite an old man, isn't he, Wilder? What is he, 38? Getting on for 39. He had some real hard fights with Tyson Fury. I mean, he'd been on the floor a few times. He'd been beaten up badly. I mean, when he got stopped the last time he was out, when he got caught around the side of the head, then punched on his way down, he was on the floor looking in a bad way. And them fights take it out of you. You don't ever regain the full energy bar. It's like a game of Street Fighter 2 back in the day. You're getting punched with shots and your stamina bar gets lower and lower and lower. It never ever fully recovers. It can't. So I just think, has Wilder got old overnight? Has he taken too many shots off Tyson Fury towards the end of his career? He's coming in at 38 years old. He looks undermotivated. He wasn't ambitious. He was talking about doing that ayahuasca, which is a spiritual kind of ceremony where you drink the ayahuasca and it releases dimethyltryptamine, I think is the correct term, DMT, into your bloodstream and takes you onto a holy place, like a spiritual awakening. And I just think if he's of this spiritual nature where everybody love everybody, I don't think that's good for a fighter. Fighter needs to be a killer. Fighter needs to be ruthless, get in the ring and want to get in there and do the business. And for me, Wilder last night was really, really disappointing. I would even go as far as to say it could be the end for him because he's had a great career. He's made plenty of money. He's had a couple of beatings. And that performance there was absolutely it was terrible. It was one of the worst performances I've seen. I know he struggles anyway. He ain't got the boxing ability. And against Ortiz, he was losing on the cards. But he was always in the fight and always looking for that big right hand. Last night, he was on his back foot trying to counter with that right hand. And even when he did land or even when he got close, he was getting pushed around and ragdolled. What is he, just over 15 stone? He looks like a big skinny geezer who can't do anything. So if he comes back from this, I'll be amazed. But that was like literally aging overnight. He looked terrible. And that's almost like raining on the parade of Joseph Parker because Joseph Parker fought to a game plan and did really, really well. But it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, Parker, fair play to him. He's young enough as well. He might have a few good fights ahead of him. But I just think Deontay Wilder was terrible, and I'll be surprised if we see him again at top level.
Yeah. Joseph Parker might have given Wilder his spiritual awakening, Carl. He's throughout his career. So sometimes we do get carried away, and I think I forget about going through Wilder's record and dissecting it. You feel like he's been around forever, but actually he hasn't. He was 27-0 before he fought Audley Harrison. So that was how...
Before he fought anyone, yeah.
That's how slow they were taking him through. Obviously, he wins a vacant belt, I think it was, in the end, or he might have beat Stavern for it, who won a vacant belt. But you go through his record, Stavern, maybe Ortiz are the biggest names on his record. Other than that,
but Ortiz was a good win. That was a good win twice.
Decent but he wasn't. Ortiz was old, and Wilder was gun shy in those fights, both of them fights. But then he finds a way. He finds a way, but he never really looked like he was either going to land that shot last night.
Never looked like he was going to find a way, did it?
No.
He was doing what he usually does, getting out box, getting picked, looking stiff and rigid on his legs, looking a bit herky-jerky, like Like he'd never laced a pair of gloves up before in his life. But he's always got that right hand, that equaliser, that big bomb, and he throws it and he just misses, or he just whisks past the chin. And you're always on your edge of your seat thinking, is he going to land something soon? But last night when I watched him against Parker, he just looked like he had no real ambition, no urgency to his work. And even when he threw that right hand, it looked quite weak.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was giving away a couple of stone. He's not a big guy anyway. He's like just over 15 stone, which I've already mentioned. But that's not very big. Just over 15 stone and 6'6" or whatever he is. He's a tall, skinny geezer.
Yeah.
Where does he generate that power from? From them chicken legs? I don't even know. But he punches really hard. And out of every single person that he's boxed or fought and won, he's knocked them out. He's a full 100% knockout winner. So we've always said he relies on power. He's not very good. He gets outboxed. He's limited. He's not a very good technical fighter. Everyone's always said that about him. But last night, I feel like that punching power had gone and that ambition's gone. And to hear him talk before the fight and after the fight, I really do think that could be the last we see of Deontay Wilder, which is a shame. But do you think that we'll ever see the AJ fight with Wilder now? Do you think that fight's even feasible? Are you interested in that one?
Well, I'm not as interested in it as I was 2 days ago. You know, now I'm thinking, as you say, is Wilder happy and complacent? Has he done his time? You know, he's 38 years of age. He's just been beat, and he didn't even look scary last night. You know, like as you say, he could be getting outboxed.
There was no moments, was there?
He could be getting outboxed, but you're thinking any moment something's going to come, whereas nothing was coming. And Joseph Parker, to his credit, is a very good, strong fighter. You know, he's been beat before, sure, but you know, he's a hard man. He's someone who, you know, you'd think if he gets caught with a shot, he's not just gonna fold and swallow it. He's gonna be in there. He might be able to survive a problem against Wilder. So there was no real excitement for me. It was just like, oh, this is a real banana skin for the bigger picture, which was supposed to be a prelim fight where you have Joshua win, Wilder win, and they two fight each other in March. And I don't know if that is signed, sealed, and delivered, because Joshua, after his fight, he didn't throw Wilder under the bus. He's saying, yeah, he just had an off night. He let it slip. I mean, he more than just let it slip. You know, he was outboxed.
Well, AJ's probably got one eye on that fight, thinking, bloody hell, he's gone. Easy money. Let's keep him built up. Yeah, so let's not write him off too much.
Yeah, so if they're already contracted in to fight each other, you know, there was talk of, well, now Joshua's number 2 with the IBF, Hrgovic is number 1, and them two going to fight each other. Maybe, maybe not. I'm sure the Saudis get whatever they want because they're willing to pay for it. But if they're already signed in and they're already making plans for Joshua Wilder, then Wilder's probably... There might have been that element of, well, I've still got a mega payday after this.
Yeah, true.
That little bit of complacency creeps in. He didn't seem...
It's fascinating. It's fascinating, isn't it? How quick the landscape changes, how quick people's opinions change, and they have to change after performances. Because people are saying to me, "Oh, I thought you said you put Wilder above AJ in your top 5." Well, yeah, I did, because I thought Wilder would have knocked out AJ based on AJ's previous performances. Yeah. AJ's put in a good performance there against Otto Wallin. Deontay Wilder's put in an absolute stinker and looks finished against Joseph Parker. And I'm not going to take anything away from Joseph Parker, but he's found his level. He lost to Dillian Whyte. AJ beat him a while ago. So on paper, you'd expect Deontay Wilder to beat Joseph Parker quite comfortably at some stage, land a couple of right hands and get him out of it. And that just didn't happen. So it all changes, doesn't it? It's fascinating. But AJ Wilder, on the same note, so I'm talking about changing. Imagine Wilder takes AJ really seriously, has a good camp, forgets about all his spiritual awakening stuff, turns up and just throws that right-hand bomb and just keeps throwing it. If he connects on AJ's chin, it's fight over. But in the build-up to that fight, if AJ did fight Wilder, you've got to say that AJ beats Wilder because Wilder's finished, just based on that last performance. So we can only go with what we've seen, and we can only go on the performances we've got. But I mean, the dominant force of the heavyweight division is still Tyson Fury and Usyk. And I think Usyk's probably number 1, even though Fury is the number 1 because he's the man still yet to lose. He's not had a loss yet. I know Usyk's not been beat yet, but we'll find out who the number 1 in the division is, hopefully in February. But I don't know if I'd stick Anthony Joshua in with the winner of that fight straight away, and I don't think AJ would want it. So that's probably why he's talking up the Wilder fight. He's probably thinking, you know what, another massive payday in Saudi. They're getting paid that much money in Saudi for these fights. And I don't know why take a risk if they're going to be earning tens of millions for fighting fights that just tick the boxes for the Saudis and for the promotional companies, and I don't know, keep everybody happy. That's what might be happening. But I also think when they're out in Saudi and they're in that ring, it's got a sparring mentality sort of atmosphere. I mean, what do you think of the atmosphere in Saudi when you watch the fights? Because you've got people sitting down at ringside giving out the odd clap, and you can hear the odd echo in the background of the empty hall because it was empty. And I just think that's almost like when you're sparring in the gym and there's not many people there and it's quiet, you don't really put on a full-on performance as opposed to fighting at the MEN Arena in Manchester when you're flattening the champ in round one and the crowd goes mental, or my rematch with Kessler at the O2, or the big fight at Wembley Stadium. Do you think that's a reason that these guys aren't really performing at the best? Because it just felt flat last night. The whole performance just felt a bit flat. I know Parker did well and Wilder was terrible and AJ did okay against a really limited Wallin, but do you think the atmosphere is affecting these guys or not?
It could be, Carl. It could be an atmosphere on fight night. I fought in Saudi. I was the first one to do it. And it wasn't just the fight night. It was the fight week. It had a bit of a sterile sort of feel. But I think as times have moved on, there's a lot of excitement around these shows now. Lots of celebrities in town. And if anything, I mean, there's lots of big-name fighters fighting on that card. It was a mega card.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when you're in that ring, letting go of the lever, exchanging blows, and you can hear a pin drop. For me, that's not boxing. That's not atmospheric. But
yeah, no, I
like the atmosphere.
It might have an effect because we saw Tyson Fury struggle in his last fight with Ngannou. We've seen the boxing last night, but Joshua showed up and done his job, but he seemed very switched on throughout the week, very different, not
agree,
as sort of engaging with anyone, giving everyone a side eye in fight mode. So maybe that's the way you got to approach it now if you want to be in Saudi, you want to have success. So, but we'll have a quick word with Daniel Dubois, a quick word on Daniel Dubois, who fought Jarrell Miller. He was down the card, but he's coming back, obviously, after his loss to Usyk. In with Miller, people are asking me, what do you think about this fight beforehand? It was sort of it was a hard one to pick for me because Miller, you never know what sort of Miller's going to show up. You don't even know what weight he's going to show up at. And you're wondering, what's Daniel Dubois got left after that fight with Usyk where he gets stopped for the second time in his career.
Well, listen, I thought Daniel Dubois was exceptional. I thought he fought really, really well. I thought he looked sharp. He was busy. He looked really fit because it was made to work because Jarrell Miller just put him on his back foot from the off, just walked forward. I don't think Miller threw a punch in round 1 and 2. I think he was just walking forward. And it reminded me of when Arthur Abraham was coming forward to me with his guard up, not throwing many punches. They're just trying to tire you out. And I think that's what Miller's game plan was. Back up Dubois, put it on him, make him fight, test his heart. And I'll tell you what, Jerome Miller really did stick it on him and walk forward and swallow some punches. And Daniel Dubois answered the questions for me. And he rose to the occasion. And I thought he put on a great performance. I thought he was exceptional with his work rate. He kept his work rate solid throughout the 10 rounds. Because don't forget, it was a 10-round fight. He looked sharp behind his boxing ability. He was obviously, he could punch hard. We know that anyway. But it was hitting Jarrell Miller and slowing him down. Because Miller had to stop coming forward. He was looking tired. He was breathing heavy. And that doesn't happen when you just walk forward with your guard up. That happens when you're getting hit with shots, when you're getting pummeled time after time. So I've got to just give Daniel Dubois massive props. I thought it was an exceptional performance. And you talk about his loss to Usyk, and you talk about maybe his loss to Joyce, but that's 2 losses in really, really good company. I mean, Joyce obviously lost to Zhang, and kind of his chin seems to be on the decline now. His main attribute was to be able to absorb punches and keep going and be fit, strong down the line. Hence his ring name, the Juggernaut. He was like a juggernaut, just keep coming forward. That seems to be gone now. But when Dubois fought Joyce just kept coming forward and kept punching away and kept mauling him. And what's Joyce? Daniel Dubois, 25 years old. So that loss, he came back from that. He jumped in with the greatest. He did to be great against Usyk, and he got stopped. But he had some good moments in that fight. But he would have learned a lot. He'd have picked up some brilliant experience. And then this fight against Jerome Miller, I think it all came to fruition for him. It all came together on the night, in probably the biggest night of his life out in Saudi. He was able to box and move, put his work rate together, avoid the big shots coming back to him. He took a couple, so he showed chin, he showed heart. And for me, the way he finished at the end, he could have boxed behind his jab, kept out of the way of big boy, baby Miller. Big fat geezer, wasn't he? Let's be honest. He was slowing down. He was struggling to move around the ring. Couldn't really get anything going. But he's a big, heavy, strong geezer who was coming forward. And Daniel Dubois finished strong. He went for the finish. He put it on him. He kept punching away. Instead of sitting back and thinking, I've got this in the bag. I've won this easy. This is a flawless victory, a wipeout. Won every round on the scorecard. He didn't win every round on the scorecards on my card. He probably lost 2 or 3 rounds. Miller had some success during the early part, and I think one towards the middle. But that's regardless of that. Joyce put on an amazing performance. I thought he was fantastic, and he is now a force to be reckoned with. You chuck Daniel Dubois in there now with Anthony Joshua in the very next fight, and all of a sudden you're going to be saying, "Oh, who wins that one?" And that's not going to happen. But he's a young man, Dubois. So yeah, fair play to him, and I think he's got a potentially really, really good future ahead of him.
Yeah, that performance and that win could have been the making of Daniel Dubois. And he said before the fight and directly after, he was happy to almost put to bed those losses before, where he sort of questioned himself, it almost felt like. So now he's got that proof in the pudding to know that, when the going gets tough, he's there to the very end. And just as you say, Carl, to get the stoppage in that last round in the dying seconds, but just to keep pushing forward and to let his hands go. It's a ferocious puncher. He's probably one of the hardest punchers out there. Big guy, but now his engine seems to be improving. His boxing ability, I thought, we saw improvements in the Usyk fight, but Usyk is just another level in terms of his technical boxing. But
yeah,
great standout win for him. Really happy for him. A Brit, and at 25, there was question marks over him, but now you are saying, like, where could he go in the future? You know, you're predicting that he's at least 10 years younger than the rest of these guys at the top.
I said a few fights ago, I said it could be the future of the heavyweight division. If he gets his head right and comes back from that loss with Usyk and believes in himself and develops, which he's doing, it could be the future of the heavyweight division. Because look at his age, 25 years old. No. And he's putting in performances like that. So fair play to Daniel Dubois. It's exciting, and he definitely belongs in the mix with the heavyweights at the minute. It really does. Right, so I think that's a wrap, George. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching The Verdict. Whilst we've got you, don't forget to hit like, share this video and subscribe. And we'll see you in 2024 for more big fights. Have a nice Christmas. See you in the new year.
Merry Christmas, Carl.
You filthy animal. Insane.